Greetings from Project Victory Gardens. I'm down here today in what was formerly our pig pasture and hopefully soon will be our food forest. So we still have a lot of clearing work to do to get rid of some of these scrub pines. But we'll clear this out and start putting together some food guilds. We moved the pigs out almost a month ago. So they had been down here for about 6 months. And now we have our next batch of broilers here. So they're kind of going through and cleaning some stuff up and helping get the land ready and regenerate the soil so that we can plant some things. But today we're going to get started on our Hugelkulture bed. So this is a huge Hugelkulture bed. Most of them are about half this height, but we went a little crazy. So Hugelkulture is a method where you pile up stumps and branches and sticks, and then you cover that with compost, straw, topsoil, other materials that will compost readily, and then typically put a layer of topsoil on the top. We've actually added some straw to the top of ours just to help it kind of maintain its shape and hopefully hold all that good compost in there. But you can see here at the end where we have some of the branches sticking out. So as those stumps and branches decompose, they'll act as a wick to draw in the moisture. So really after the first year, you don't have to worry about irrigating your Hugelkulture bed at all. And then as they break down, they'll turn into just a wonderful compost that will keep us growing in this area for years to come. So I will check back in with you once we get a few things planted in here and show you where and how we decide what we're going to plant in the Hugelkulture. Here I am on top of the Hugelkulture bed. So you can see that the sides are pretty steep. And so I don't plan on coming up here on the top of the bed very often. So what I want to plant up here are some things that I can just kind of set and forget. So what I'm thinking, I've never tried artichokes before, but they can be grown as a perennial in our zone. So I'm going to try some artichokes up here on the top. They can get up to 6 feet, which should be awesome sitting on top of our 6-foot Hugelkulture bed. Beautiful flowers, so even if we don't get a lot of artichokes, it still should help provide some good structure. So on the top, you kind of want something that's going to have those long roots that'll get down and really start tying in and knitting your Hugelkulture bed together. So let's get some artichokes planted. So we're back. It's now the afternoon, so you'll be able to see the difference in where the sun was this morning compared to where the sun is now. We've got a few things planted in the Hugelkulture bed, and I just wanted to kind of take you on a tour of what I have planted so far and why I've kind of planted things where I have. So all the way around the middle, we have squash, both summer and winter squash. We're kind of keeping those in the middle of the Hugelkulture because they should just go crazy and vine all over the place. You want to separate them pretty well because they're going to take up quite a bit of room. So we've got some of our summer squash on this side here, our zucchinis and yellow squash, bush squash, and they're kind of hard to see. I have them tucked in well so that, you know, as transplants, squash don't transplant well sometimes, and so they need a little bit of protection while they adjust. Let's see if I can even find this one. There it is. So that's our golden zucchini. So in the same family as squash, we have our gourds. And when we put up this Hugelkulture bed, we left these 2 very large pine trees. And essentially they're kind of what is holding up this huge pile of brush and logs that we have. So they're keeping it together. And I said, what a better idea to cover up this blank canvas that we have with our pine trees than to plant some loofah down here at the bottom. So if you've never seen loofah growing, Loofah is a pretty remarkable plant. It is in the gourd family, and if you walked up on a loofah tree and or a loofah vine and had no idea what it was, you probably would never guess. But yes, this is exactly the same thing that you use in the shower. And so this vine will grow all the way up these pine trees. We've got 2 on each side. And then in the fall, we'll let them dry, harvest them, save the seeds, and pull out basically that shower sponge that everyone is familiar with. So that's a great plant. We also have some of our herbs tucked in around the top. We have both medicinal and culinary herbs here. We've got some of our pollinator attractants, bee balm. I went through and I tucked in some nasturtium seeds all over the entire bed. So hopefully those come out and attract some of those beneficial insects and drive away some of the not so beneficial ones. So there's our black beauties. We've got a couple of those going. Here on the end, on our more shaded end, is where we've got 3 different types of pumpkins. So we've got Sugar, Jack Be Little, and Cinderella here on the end. Now down here on the bottom is where you're going to want to keep your root vegetables. You don't want to mess with the structural integrity of your Hugelkulture bed by pulling roots out of the top. So we've got burdock down here. Made a small improvement to the Hugelkulture bed so that I could get on top without pulling the whole thing down on top of me. And up top I planted some artichokes as well as 3 different types of okra. So the top of the Hugelkulture bed is going to be drier than the bottom, and so that's where you want to put those things that like their legs to be dry, like okra, as well as the things that don't mind getting full sun. And here in South Carolina, that's always the biggest concern, because full sun does not always mean South Carolina full sun. Got a couple more loofah at the base of this tree, and then some Condonopsis here under the straw. We're starting that from seed. That's also a vining plant. It's a perennial, and you want to mix your Hugelkulture bed with a mixture of annuals and perennials, especially the annuals that you can what's called chop and drop. So anything that you can just kind of chop all the green off at the end of the growing season and leave it there to compost, that's ideal for a Hugelkulture bed. See a few more of our squash sticking out over here. Not too much going on this side yet. We'll get to this another day. And then some leeks down here on the end that we're starting by seeds. So that's a little tour of what we have planted so far and how you can decide where to plant in your Hugelkulture bed, because the important thing is to remember that there's various microcosms across this bed, both as sun, temperature, dryness, and so you want to be cognizant of what plants need what and pay attention to your Hugelkulture before you start planting. Thanks so much. Hope you enjoyed. Bye.